Hey, it's your boy Jay here with part 4 of the 50 greatest tag teams in WWE history. We'll be running down numbers 20 through 11 this time, so let's get started. And at number 20 we have the Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. Another tag team. I know I brought this up before. It just got done with, literally 5 months ago. The run just finished. I know it was a 4-year run, a dominant run. Kyle O'Reilly holds the record for the most amount of tag team title reigns in NXT history. All different combinations held it. Adam Cole helped defend the titles when they instituted the Freebird rule. I think Roderick Strong wasn't part of the team then, and Bobby Fish was injured. But yeah, number 20, little high for me. Now, if we're going to take into account all of their work together as a tag team across all promotions, I believe, Cole and O'Reilly worked together in Ring of Honor. I believe O'Reilly and Strong worked together in PWG or ICW, I believe, one of the two. So yeah, if we're going to combine outside work, outside of WWE tag experience, yeah, I could see them being on a top 50 list, but not top 20. And like I said, I may just be looking at it wrong, just because there's no nostalgia there for me. We haven't had time to digest this run, but yeah, dominant tag team, good tag team. Definitely better than a lot of the teams that we've already mentioned, and it's probably going to be better than a lot of these other tag teams that we are about to mention. So yeah, number 20, the Undisputed Era. And at number 19, we have the Soul Patrol! Yeah, the team of Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas. At least I really hope so. From what I remember, it was more of a team put together. This is during the WWF days when Vince McMahon Sr. was all about putting those ethnic heroes out there. And Tony Atlas, man, at that time, that is when he was peak, god-like Tony Atlas. So yeah, pretty good tag team. Late 70s, early 80s. They went to Puerto Rico quite a bit with these belts. That is one thing for some reason, stuck out in my head. I remembered quite a bit, but really couldn't tell you too much else about their run. I know they had a successful string there just because of... That's the main reason why Rocky Johnson was such a big name in the WWF and WWF. That's why when The Rock first joined, his father was looked upon so fondly, not because of his singles career, but more because of this work. And they did so well as actually to Tony Atlas's detriment, because we all know Vince McMahon Jr. does not like tag teams, and once the tag team kind of dissolved and they went and did their own things, Tony Atlas was never that big again. He was a big single, but then he did this tag work. He went to the NWA and did some things, but I'm just saying in the WWF. But yeah, number 19, the Soul Patrol. And at number 18, we have Mr. Fuji and Toru Tanaka. Ooh, another team I'm probably don't have very much to tell you, too much to tell you about. What Toru Tanaka went by Professor Tanaka, I believe. Great heel tag team. I know he was pretty big in Memphis. I want to say they were probably more in the 60s, 70s side of thing. Most people remember Mr. Fuji from being manager, especially if you're my age. I'd assume you'd have to be in your 40s or 50s to really remember this tag team, especially as wrestlers. But yeah, they were like a legit foreign heel tag team. I don't believe they ever had any runs as faces. But Professor Tanaka, he did some things, I think even in the 80s, especially in the NWA. I think Mr. Fuji just never left that WWF system or WWF system, and Vince rewarded him for that. Kept them on the payroll until, the mid-90s, I believe? So yeah, he was rewarded for that. They were a team that would actually even take on, who was that? Bruno Sammartino. I don't want to say it was Pedro Morales, but I feel like it was. They were able to actually get a win over them. Or maybe it wasn't a win, maybe it was a double DQ or double count out. But yeah, sorry I couldn't tell you more about those guys. But I know if you go and look up their work in Memphis, or well, CWA at the time, you'll probably see some pretty good stuff. And you'll definitely be able to find some stuff on Professor Tanaka and Mr. Fuji both as far as their singles career go. But yeah, number 18, the team of Mr. Fuji and Toru Tanaka. And at number 17, we have the Steiner Brothers. Woo! Okay, so, yeah, my list, they would be top 10, probably top 5 tag teams. I understand this is a WWE list, and if you're going to go with a WWE list, they should be more in like the 30s or 40s. There's some teams we haven't seen yet that, I could think of more teams than the other 16 teams that are above these guys that in WWF land are going to be better than the Steiners. They did have one title run, I believe. They had some great matches. Actually, their best match wasn't even to WWF contracted talent. It was actually to Smoky Mountain contracted talent against the Heavenly Bodies. But that was because the Steiners were used to that NWA style of wrestling, and it was just, they were able to do their thing with them. So, yeah, but I mean, they did do their thing. They did have a lot of legit wins where they were convincing, the crowd was getting behind them, but they couldn't go all out. They wanted Rick to act crazier. They wanted Scott to wrestle flashier, and that wasn't what they were. They were a hardcore, basically, a hardcore team ground and pound, but with the little flashy amateur wrestling moves put in between them. But number 17, good spot for them. Definitely not too high. I could tell you that, unless we're going to go on straight WWF stuff. Then yes, they are too high. But as far as our list that we'll be making, trust me, they will be a lot higher than number 17. But yeah, once again, number 17, the Steiner Brothers. And at number 16, we have the Rock and Sock Connection. And here we go. Just said the Steiners. Under them at 17. Steiners should definitely be above the Rock and Sock Connection, even if we are just doing Steiners WWF. The Rock and Sock Connection. Team put together because it was just Mankind was on his ascent up and just needed that tiny bump just to get him to the top peak level, and The Rock provided him for that. Had some of the best segments of WWE television at the time during the Attitude Era when they were together. Even when they were feuding, they had great segments together. But this is another one, just like with Team Hell No. It was a team put together because how great the two could play off of each other. All about the story of them getting together, and then the story of them breaking it off afterwards. But they were, they were a good enough team that they're fondly remembered. I actually did a review on a cereal they came out with together on my last Belief Suspended Raw episode. So, yeah, they definitely made pop culture, but that's because they came together at the height, the absolute height of the business. Just 16. I really can't think of any trademark wins except for Brothers of Destruction victories that they had, but other than that I really can't think anything. It was just a tag team thrown together for a feud, gave them something to do for a little bit. So 16, a little high in my opinion, so that does not bode well for the rest of this countdown. But yeah, number 16, The Rock and Sock Connection. And at number 15 we have the Wild Samoans. So, I messed up on this, I believe, the very beginning of all these videos. When the Head Shrinkers were mentioned, I told you everything about the Wild Samoans, them battling in the 80s with the Bulldogs, having a heel versus heel feud for a little bit with the Hart Foundation, them battling the Killer Bees, some of their stuff in the late 70s. Turned out, that was the Head Shrinkers, the team of Fatu and Sika. But no, not Sika. I'm alive. But anyways, Rikishi was in the team. That was the team that went on to be the Samoan SWAT team in the NWA. So that was something that I needed to address. The Head Shrinkers. I'll go ahead and talk about the Head Shrinkers. The Head Shrinkers, since I already talked about the Wild Samoans in an earlier video. But the Head Shrinkers came, they actually won gold in the early 90s and was just kind of a rough and tumble Samoan team that just blew through. For some reason, their push just seemed to me just kind of like it stopped. We did the old good luck or good deeds, Fatu business and all that after he got done with the NWA. I don't know why they didn't put the team back together, but they didn't. But yeah, I do apologize for that mistake I made in that video. I hope I gave the Head Shrinkers their due here in the Wild Samoan spot. Makes them seem like they're a better tag team than they really are. I believe they were 46, so now I'm talking about at 15. So yeah, number 15, the Wild Samoans, even though you only heard me talk about the Head Shrinkers. And at number 14, we have the Rockers. Whew. So, WWE Tag Team, number 14, the Rockers. And that is probably about where we will put them on our list, on our Belief Suspended 50 Greatest Tag Teams in Wrestling History list. And the reason why I say they'll be around this area, they had a tag title run that was a phantom tag title run, so it never technically happened. So, you know, the tree falls in the forest and nobody hears it, does it make a sound type deal. But they brought a lot to tag team wrestling. High flying, hell, the Young Bucks, here we are 25 years later doing their gimmick. Like, the Young Bucks are just the Rockers, just 20 to 50 pounds lighter. And they're killing it, doing the same thing as they did 25 years ago. So, I mean, there it is right there. But, I mean, that's how innovative they were. That here we are 25 years later, and people are still complaining about the Young Bucks doing the things that the Rockers did back then, and they're saying the Young Bucks are doing things that's just too new to the business, but it was already done. I believe they would have made it higher if they would have actually had a legit title run. They probably really would have been a lot higher, especially on our list, but on the WWE's list as well. And I mean, just think about the contributions they did make to tag team wrestling. Shawn Michaels, with his top rope drop kicks, their crossbodies, their double teaming. You know, I know the Rock and Roll Express did this back in the day, but it was kind of like, Warlord, I know one-on-one I can't beat you, and Barbarian, I know one-on-one Marty Jannetty can't beat you, but I know us two as a team could beat you two as a team because we could work together. You know, they innovated that. And then also the whole, every time there's a tag team breakup, now the whole thing is who's going to be the Shawn Michaels and who's going to be the Marty Jannetty of this tag team. So it just shows you right there how vital they were to the tag team scene, that now whenever we see a tag team implode, who's going to be the Shawn Michaels, who's going to be the Marty Jannetty. They both won tag team gold with other partners later on, so that kind of shows you that they're tag team specialists. So yeah, number 14, the Rockers, that one's about right in my book. So let's move on. And at number 13, I am going to murder myself. It is the Mega Powers. Why? Why are they number 13? The Mega Powers. Why? The Mega Bucks have had more tag matches together than the Mega Powers. I believe the Mega Powers have 5 total matches together, none of which were for tag team titles. All of which were just literally for a feud, which is something I've been complaining about this entire list. They were brought together to start a feud. They were blown up to, you know, properly get the feud started. But if you don't know, it's the Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan. And this tag team was formed because the Honky Tonk Man and the Hart Foundation were giving it, just giving it to the Macho Man. And Elizabeth ran down and got Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan saved them. Well, at the time, Randy Savage was over like Rover, and Hogan had to go film No Holds Barred. And WrestleMania 4 came up, and bam, Savage won the tournament, and he had the title. Well, Savage needed the, feud with somebody, which was the $1 Million Man, the runner-up in said tournament. And things were all good. He had Andre the Giant in his corner, so Hogan, after he got done filming, came back, and they had some matches against each other. But yeah, I think it was like 4 or 5 matches total. I think they had 2 matches on house shows and 3 matches on TV. I know they fought the Skyscrapers. What was that team called? It was the Big Boss Man and Akeem, the African Dream. But anyways, I know they fought them because that is when the Mega Powers exploded. I thought it'd be because of Hogan stealing Macho Man's life, but it was because the Macho Man thought Hogan was trying to steal his girl. But either way, number 13, the Mega Powers. Oh my god, this list is getting crazy. And at number 12, we have the Valiant Brothers. Handsome Jimmy Valiant, and Vicious, I think it was Luscious Johnny Valiant. Tag team champions quite a bit. Jimmy Valiant, everybody knows him from all around the territories. The NWA, the Boogie Woogie Man, Handsome Jimmy Valiant. And I believe with this tag team too, I believe there was a Jerry Valiant. I don't know, I believe he probably took Jimmy's spot while Jimmy traveled the country and wrestled in other territories or whatever. So I think there was a Jerry Valiant at one point. But yeah, I know they wrestled the Moondogs. That's about the only feud I could really tell you about. They were in the WWF heyday. Probably definitely took on the Wild Samoans, I would assume. Really can't tell you too much. It's more of a 70s type run, early 80s. But yeah, Handsome Jimmy Valiant, you definitely need to look him up, if anything. I don't even know why they've made it so high on the list. I guess they had to throw in a nostalgic tag team. I think they did win gold at least 2 times that I could think of off the top of my head. I feel like they did win it another time when Jerry... I don't know, I'm probably wrong about the Jerry thing. Probably completely wrong, but I'm like 90% sure his name was Jerry Valiant. And I believe they won gold again when he was there as well. So I know they beefed with the Russians for a little bit. Which one was it? Ivan Koloff and Volkov at the time, I believe it was. I know they wrestled with them once or twice as well. So yeah, number 12, the Valiant Brothers. And at number 11, this is a disservice to everyone, Demolition. And, okay, so for WWE tag teams, all time, 50 greatest tag teams in WWE history, you're telling me Demolition is 11? 11. No, I can't even think. They should be top 5 for sure, if not 2 or 3. Reasoning why, longest tag title reign in Federation history. Actually you could say Federation history, but if you go all of WWE history, they were only beaten by the New Day, and that was because of a lawsuit just to spite Demolition, so they could quit bringing up Demolition. They had to use the Freebird rule towards the end of Axe's career. Basically, if you don't know Demolition, I guess I should mention, they were Axe and Smash, and later on Crush was introduced when Axe was getting up there in years. Vince McMahon wanted the Road Warriors, could not get them, so he created his own Road Warriors, which was Demolition. I was a WWF guy for quite a while as a kid. I almost preferred Demolition more, just because of their tag work together. They did a lot more double team moves than the Road Warriors did. But number 11 is a disgrace. Top 5 for sure. We all know why they're not in the top 10. Because a bigger video was done about the top 10 tag teams. And with, I believe, Smash having the lawsuit against them for the concussion thing, that's why they were put so low on this list. But I could even think of, Fuji breaking the cane across one of their backs when he sided with the Powers of Pain to turn them good. You know, they were a tag team that was over both as faces and heels. You know, first they were heels, and just like, you know, Road Warrior syndrome, if you keep on beating them and beating them and beating them, eventually the crowd's going to be behind them because they know they're never going to lose, and they did it with Demolition. He actually, if you look at CM Punk's title run when he had it for the 400 and whatever days, it almost mirrors, or it's actually the reverse of Demolition's title run, like almost the exact reverse of it. But yeah, like I said, they doubled a lot. They were hard hitting, but you know, for big guys, they got in there too. So, you know, and they were matches that as a kid I remember watching, and they weren't matches there was a lot of matches, especially in that era of the WWF, you would get bored watching. But not Demolition. Don't know why, but you just would not get bored watching their matches. They were that good and that entertaining in the match. But yeah, number 11, Demolition. So yeah, just keep on watching, guys. We'll be dropping numbers 10 through 1 soon. And keep those comments coming so we can compile our own 50 greatest tag teams in WWE history. So please, don't forget to like, comment, and if you haven't already, subscribe. I've been your boy Jay. We will see you next time.